Dorothy, a doppelganger o Nicholas Sturgeon, and her wee dog Toto, a cairn terrier with Kezia Dugdale's heat, had just landed in a queer, colourful land. It took them a while to adjust. You see, back home, everything had been in black and white. They had been at Poltack's house to pay her auntie's council tax when it had been soaked up by a muckle tornado. Poltack's house eventually landed with a crash in the land of Oz, right on top of the Wicked Witch of the East, a Maggie Thatcher look-alike, and killed her staying deed. Dorothy was brought up to speed by Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, Winnie Ewing's double, as it happens. "Are ye a good witch or a bad witch?" she speered. Dorothy told her she wasn't a witch at all. "Well, the Munchkins are fell grateful for ye drat 'em that house on the top of the Wicked Witch of the East. Here, you better put on her magic tartan baffies." Just as Glinda magicked the baffies onto Dorothy's feet, the Wicked Witch of the West appeared. She looked like yon Pretty Patel. She was gey put out about Dorothy getting the magic tartan baffies and was all for sorting her out, but Glinda told her to bugger off, which she did. Dorothy was just wanting to get home to Scotland. Glinda told her that she should go to the Emerald City, where the Wizard of Oz would able to help her out. "All you have to do is follow the yellow brick high road," Glinda said. So without further ado, off she went along the yellow brick high road. She was cheered on her way by hunters and hunters o' Munchkins, a race of twa-fit Ruth Davison clones. Leaving Glinda and the Munchkins for a hunt, Dorothy traced for miles along the yellow brick high road. Her and Toto never met a living soul until they come to a crossroads. Now Dorothy was fair flummoxed, and no sure what way to go. Luckily there was a friendly tatty bogle nearby who pointed her in the right direction. He didn't hae ony brains. Dorothy kent this just by looking at him. Anybody that looked that much like Michael Gove was bound to be glaikit, she thought. She says to him, "If you chum me along to the Emerald City, Abelin's the Wizard of Oz will gie you some brains." "That would be fabby," I replied. Dorothy helped the tatty bogle down for the iron brew crate he was balanced on, and off they went, heading for the Emerald City. By this time, Dorothy was fair starving. She hadn't eaten since the fish supper she had had before landing in Oz. She noticed a wheen of apple trees growing beside the yellow brick high road and went to pick a couple of apples. The apple tree wasn't like this at all and slapped her hand away. "Oh, Dorothy, you didn't want the apples. They're likely full of worms," the tatty bogle told her. At this point, the tree started flinging apples at the tatty bogle. He handed a couple to Dorothy. "I was just kidding about the worms." After a mile or two, they came across a tin man who had got roosted in the rain. Dorothy found some ale for his giants and he was fine. They learned that the tin man didn't hae a hair. Dorothy had jaloused this, of course. Anybody that looked that much like Jason Rees-Mogg wasn't likely to hae a hair. "Come along with us to the Emerald City and see if the Wizard of Oz will gie you a hair," says Dorothy. "Tatty Bogle's after some brains and me and Toto is trying to get back home to Scotland." "Aye, count me in," the Tin Man replied. No long after the Tin Man had joined them, the yellow brick high road had meandered into the woods. They were a bit feared there might be wild animals that could attack them. All at once there was a loud roar from the woods, and this muckle lion come bounding out. He made a beeline for Toto. This was however much for Dorothy. She went up to the lion and scalped him right across the kisser. Now somebody that looked that much like Boris Johnson deserved a slap, even if he hadn't went for Toto. "Oh yeah, that was fell sair. Isn't it bloodin', is it?" the lion whimpered. "Oh, you're just a big fearty. I thought lions was supposed to be brave," Dorothy said. "You're right then. I'm the exception. I havenae an ounce of courage, and I dinna ken where to find ony, the lion replied. Dorothy, said the tatty bogle, Aiblin's the wizard will gie him some courage if he asks. I said the tin man, the mair the merrier. So it was decided the Coeur Lion would join them. Before long, the woods fell awa, and they got a glimpse of the Emerald City in the distance. At this point, the road was surrounded with fields of red poppies. The wicked witch of the west had cast a spell to make the friends fall asleep. She was still after the magic tartan baffies and thought she would be able to pockle them whilst Dorothy and her chums were sleeping. Luckily, Glinda said some magic snore to waken them up. They managed to get to the gates of the Emerald City without further ado. When they arrived, the guards weren't for letting them in, taking them for economic migrants or something. Dorothy turned on the waterworks. The guards, couldn't throw all that greeting, just decided to let them all in. Eventually, they were granted an audience with the Wizard of Oz, a deed ringer for Alex Salmond as it happens. He wasn't really a wizard at all, as it turned out. He told the tatty bogle with Tin Man and Coeur Lion that their problems was on their heads. He handed the tatty bogle a fake diploma for the Ulaanbaatar Uni. He said, "This certificate certifies you as super brainy," he said. The tatty bogle was fair chuffed and started doing the Sudoku in the Emerald City Times. The wizard then handed a citation to the Tin Man, commending him for his philanthropy. He immediately volunteered to work in the Emerald City Food Bank and help the destitute and homeless. Next was the Cowardly Lion. The wizard gave him a wheen of medals, just like the yins members of the British aristocracy wear at state occasions. A fearty name here, he headed back to his native woods to sort out all the other lions who had been bullying him of late. "You only fix my problems with fake diplomas, citations or medals," says Dorothy. "Nae probs, hen. My pal Branson's gi'n us a len of his hot air balloon to get us both home to Scotland. Aye, I'm fae there too." Dorothy, the wizard and Toto all clambered into the basket of the hot air balloon, and up they went. As the balloon rapidly gained height, the Witch of the West appeared out of the clouds. She was determined to get the magic tartan baffies and started to dive bomb the balloon on her broomstick, cackling awa like a dafty. Dorothy decided to let her hear him. As the witch swooped down, Dorothy flung the baffies at her. Yin clipped the rear of her broomstick, causing it to gag into a tailspin. There was a loud "Arg!" as the wicked witch plummeted to her death. The wizard and Dorothy did a high five and whooped with delight at this turn of events. A wee while later, they met some turbulence. The basket became detached and rapidly plunged into the earth. Thud! Nicola Sturgeon woke with a start, wiping her brow with the sleeve of her saltire design onesie. It had just been a dream, after all.